Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about The Outsiders. I went to see it at the Princess of Wales Theatre a few weeks ago, and it was so good. I highly recommend going if it's still playing when you see this, and you're in Toronto. The Outsiders was awesome. Now, I might be a little bit biased because when I was in grade 8, we had to read this for class, and I had a really great grade 8 teacher who had us read The Outsiders, and he also had us read Robert Frost poetry. And he was one of those teachers. This really made me think about how he was one of those teachers that really actually made you think critically, and he had us reflect a lot, which at the time I was very much in a mindset where I thought that sciences and math and that sort of thing was the real knowledge, and all this English poetry nonsense was just kind of silly or frivolous. And so I remember he had us writing different papers and really making us think critically, and I was just kind of like, oh, this is silly, because I thought I knew everything as a teenager. Looking back, it was one of the most powerful things that happened to me in my high school experience. So shout out to Mr. McGee and all of those high school teachers who who even in spite of the kids sometimes actually makes a positive difference. But yeah, Robert Frost is a great poet. He actually, when I was in grade 8, we mostly studied the road less traveled by. And that's what I remember the most. But also Nothing Gold Can Stay is a very powerful poem. And that's what my cover this week was about. The song is called Stay Gold because the one sort of one part in the middle of The Outsiders is that one of the characters recites the poem Stay Gold, and then another character, then Johnny, the one who sings Stay Gold later, Johnny says what does that poem mean? And the other guy's like, I don't know. And then at the end, Johnny sings this song Stay Gold, where he says I finally figured out what this poem's about, and it's really beautiful. So yeah, to give a little more context, it's the Outsiders is very much like an underdog plot, where it's you've got the kids on the east side, they're the underdogs, they're the greasers, and they're one gang, and then there's a gang that lives on the west side, and they're the socias because they live like socialites, and they're really well off, and they basically just bully the greasers a lot. And it's a really good musical. It is intense. I cried a lot. but yeah, so it's all about these underdogs, these greasers, and Johnny is kind of like the epitome of underdog because he does nothing wrong. He gets punished for doing the right thing, and then at the end he sort of makes this ultimate act of self-sacrifice that is kind of his undoing. But it's in the song you can see that he says well, I'd do it all again, because he's found that is the meaning of life, stay gold. So the two parts of the Robert Frost poem, I'll put it in the description, and I think I also put it in the description of the cover that I did of the song Stay Gold. But the two lines that come up in the song that refer to Robert Frost's poem are the beauty in the fold and nothing gold can stay. So I wanted to comment on, well, first of all, I'll comment on the beauty in the fold. It's funny because when I was first learning the song, I forgot that was in the poem, and I was so confused. I was like, finding beauty in the fold? What the heck is the fold? And at first I thought it was a gambling thing, that it's you gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, and so I thought it was literally the beauty in the fold, that it was Johnny was giving everything up, But then like I Googled it and people were saying it's more like finding beauty in like the complexities of life. That there are layers and it's like folds. So that's one interpretation. And then one that I was just thinking of is like fold. It's like once you fold a piece of paper, you can never unfold it and like have it look the way that it did before. So it's almost like finding beauty in the fact that you can't take back what's happened already, like actually learning to embrace things that seem like a fold, that seem like a crease, or like something that would be ugly, or like that would ruin what came before. Instead of thinking of it as ruining it, it's actually finding beauty in the fold. So that's some possible interpretations of beauty in the fold. But I wanted to comment more on the idea of stay gold, because that's sort of at the end, when that's like what Johnny leaves behind for the other characters, is like he's this example of like, I've been through so much and here's my advice to you: stay gold. So I think that's the message that's the most powerful in the musical, and it really spoke to me, and so I wanted to share a little bit about that. So what the poem says is that nothing gold can stay. It's like everything that is valuable and beautiful, it's like in this world it seems like it's fleeting. But I wanted to offer some possible interpretations of stay gold, when that's what Johnny says. So I think that when he says that, he means like stay unstained by the world. So like some properties of gold are like that it's untarnished, that it has enduring value, that it preserves value, and that it like shines. And I was thinking maybe it's the idea of like stay gold. Maybe it's like keep your purity of heart, because Johnny has been through so much, but he doesn't carry resentments with him as he's like basically gotten totally screwed over in so many different ways. I'm not gonna like give away the plot by telling you all those ways, but he's just been through so much. And at that point in somebody's life, when they've gone through so many things and gotten burned so many times, including like in a very ultimate way, like a lot of people would turn to bitterness and resentment, but instead it's almost like he hasn't even been through it. It's almost as if like he has this purity of heart that he maintains, as if he hasn't been through all that, and that's so much more powerful than if he had never been through all of it in the first place. Because it's one thing if you can imagine somebody who like nothing bad has ever happened to them, and then they're like a really like good person who has like really good will towards everybody. But then on the other hand, if you've had a lot of really terrible things happen to you, and especially maliciously terrible things, like people actually tried to do terrible things to you, which is the case for Johnny, and you still have that same purity of heart, like that is powerful. That is stay gold, in my opinion. And that made me think about a connection to like the sort of romantic world of things. Is that like that, you know how there's something very special about a person's first love, and I heard one person talking about this, and I think it's the case. It's like your first love is such a powerful experience, like no matter who it is that you actually end up with in the end, there's something very special about your first love, because you've never experienced heartbreak before. So you're just kind of thrown into this like really powerful experience, and you don't know how much it's gonna hurt if it all falls apart. And so you just kind of like throw yourself into it, and you're like, oh, love is so wonderful, you know? And then, I mean, for a lot of us, if we sort of get burned, then it's like, then even if we do fall in love after that, there can be a tendency to hold part of yourself back, just like, oh, well, this could really hurt if it doesn't work out. And whereas if you can actually sort of like if you can get through it unscathed, or if you can do a lot of healing after like that first love, or maybe more than one love, then you hear people talk about how it's like, oh, like my love with this person is like my first, it's like our first love again, like you hear some people talk about that. I've heard of like 50-year-olds getting together and being like, oh yeah, it's just like my first love. And I think that's really sweet. And I think that there's a parallel between that. Like I think that's also an example of like stay gold, like you can go through you can go through love and then heartbreak, and then you can go back into love, and like even if it didn't work out with the first person, it's not like you're so protective or like angry about it or just like scared about it. Like you can actually give yourself away in a new relationship. I think that's a really beautiful thing. Not to like shame anybody who doesn't, because obviously it's like there's always healing still possible. And like we all have our own journeys, so certainly no judgment, but I think all of us sort of look back on that first love as a very special experience, and that it is something that's attainable with or something to strive towards if we can like stay gold in that way. And then I think that's why the first love is so powerful. And then it's like that's why it's also like if we're able to go through life without becoming bitter and resentful, then we can sort of preserve almost a childlike quality in the way that we interact with people, not being like immature or something. She says that she wears a Minnie Mouse dress when she first read this book, like a long time ago. And anyways, yeah, I'm like over double the age that I was when I first read this book, which is a little bit terrifying to me. But you know what? I like Minnie Mouse and I like pink, so I'm gonna wear it. But yeah, you don't have to be immature, but I think that there's a certain like childlike quality that you can keep in your life, and it's almost like in the same way that you preserve that first love in the realm of romance. It's like you can preserve that like that part of you that it's like it's almost like you've never been screwed over, even if you've had a really difficult life and lots of people have screwed you over. If you can get to the end of that and still have a certain innocence, a certain purity of heart, a certain sense of your own preserved value that shines in the darkness and is untarnished by the cruelty of the world, like to me that's like stay gold. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks to Robert Frost for the beautiful poem. Thank you to the people who wrote The Outsiders, the book, and then the movie that was produced, and then the musical that was based off of it. It's powerful stuff, man. So that's all that I have to say to you today is stay gold.